Today's notes are evaluating rational exponents. So not only are we going to rewrite them, but we're also going to use a calculator to solve them out. So if you don't have a calculator, I would make sure you get one. So we're going to be using the same notation that we used yesterday. So again, this m here for the radical is the denominator of our fraction. This power is the numerator of our fraction. So when we go to evaluate, sometimes it's easy to put them in the calculator, sometimes it's not. I would recommend put them in radical form first. So if they're not in radical form, I would rewrite them and then we'll use the calculator for the second part. So number 1 is in radical form because it has a radical or square root. So you would basically just use your calculator, and I don't know that this is exactly the right one, but there's a button here that has an X on it with a radical. It's the blue button underneath. So it's that one right there. So you would hit the number outside first on this calculator. So you'd hit a 3. So I'm going to hit 3. And let's see, sorry about that. So clear. So hit 3. And then I'm going to hit second in that button here. So second, that button. And then I'm going to put the number underneath, which is 8. And that's going to give me a 2. So the answer for this first problem is 2. And if you think about it, that should make sense, because if you took 2 and you cubed it, that would give you 8. So that's how you know that that actually works. So this number means you would take it to that power. Number 2 is not in radical form, so let's rewrite it first. So we know the top number is n, and bottom number is m. So I'm looking for 16 under the radical, and then I want this 4 to go out here, and the 1, basically we just ignore it. So because it's a 1, we're going to ignore it like we did before because it doesn't change the value. Then we'll plug this into the calculator. So I can get all this on here. So clear. So I'm going to hit the outside radical first, so 4, and then I'm going to hit second, and that button there, and then the 16 will go under, and that'll give me a 2. And again, if you were to try to check your work on this, 2, the answer to this power, is that going to equal 16? So 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, does that equal 16? Yes, so that's kind of how you would check your work. So that's kind of what this part is here. So you don't have to do this, but if you want to know if you're doing it right, that's kind of how the check would work. Number 3 is in radical form, so just plug it into your calculator. So I have a 3 on the outside, so I'm going to press that 3 first, and then I'm going to take it to the 125, and that's going to spit out a 5, so the answer is just 5. And again, I could check it if I wanted to. So 5 to this power here, so 5 to the third, is that 125? And it is, so I know my answer is correct. The next one, you'll do the same thing. So this one, rewrite it in radical form first. This is a -8, and that's okay. That -8 just goes underneath. The top number is n, the bottom number is m, so I'm going to put a 3. I'm going to ignore the top because it's only a 1. I'm going to plug this into the calculator again. Just be careful when you plug it in to make sure that you include the negative. So I want the third root will go first, and then I'll hit second and that square root button, and then I want an 8, but I need it to be a negative. Ooh, that's not going to work. Try that -8, see if that's how you want it to go. Perfect, gave us a -2. So the answer for this example is -2. And again, if you were going to try to check it, I'll stop doing the check, that way you don't have to keep worrying about it, but you want a -2 in parentheses, and if you took it 3 times, that's how you would end up getting a negative. Okay, so number 5, it's in the wrong form, so let's rewrite it in radical form. So I have a radical with a 1, and the bottom number goes outside. If you push all these buttons in the calculator, I'll give you a second to do that, you should get 1. All right, on 6, it's a little more complicated. It's in the wrong form too, so let's rewrite it in the right form. So n's on top, m's on the bottom. Again, if you're not sure where I'm getting this information from, it's from the beginning of the notes here, and we had this on the previous day's notes as well. Top is n, bottom is m, and then we're just placing them in the same spot. So we're just rewriting it to make it match. So I know it's some kind of a radical with the 16. The bottom is what goes outside, and then I have a cube. So when you do this on the calculator, what you probably should do first is just do the under the radical first. So do this portion first. And we already did this problem right here. So if you look, these two are identical here. So I know that this inside piece is going to give me the same answer that I got on number 2. So just this piece will give me a 2. And then what I also need to do now is I need to cube it. So 2 cubed. Okay, there is a button on your calculator for that. So let me show you how that works. It's called the caret button. So you would hit the 2, and then you basically want this upside down V button here, right here. So you're going to press this, 2 to the power of, and then you'll hit 3, and then you'll hit enter, and that gives you 8. So the answer for this whole thing is an 8. Let's try another one like that. So if we go to number 7, we want to rewrite it first. Here's n, here's m. So I'm going to put my radical. The number goes, oops, I almost forgot the negative. Negative 125. I don't know what that is. Sorry, you guys. A negative 125. I'm making it worse. Get rid of it. There we go. And then the bottom number is cubed, so that cubed will go on the outside of the radical here. And then we're going to take it to the power that's on top. So do this in the calculator first. So you want to press these buttons in your calculator. Go ahead and do that. This part should give you a negative 5, and then we still need to square it. So you'll do 5 negative squared, which should give you a 25. Let's go ahead and do number 8. Top number is your n, bottom number is your m. I would recommend you pause the video, try these on your own, and then come back and see how well you did. 27 goes underneath, 3, and then a 2. So again, this is always what's your power. And this is the type of radical. Okay, so when you're not sure. So I'll put this in the calculator, and let me show you how to do this one more time. So we want the third root of 27. So let me clear this. So I want the third, and then it's the second button and this button. So it brings up that radical of 27. Hit enter. That's going to give me a 3. I'm going to keep that on there, but this part here is just going to be a 3. And then I need to square it. So then if I keep that 3 here, it was still on there, and I go straight to hitting this upside down button. So that says second answer. So it's holding on to the 3, and we're going to square it, and that's going to give us a 9. So 3 squared is 9. And some of you may not need your calculator, and that's totally fine as well. All right, last one. We're going to rewrite it first. Here's your n, here's your m. Base goes underneath. The m goes on the outside. The 2 goes up here. Do this in the calculator first. Okay, so let me give you a chance to go ahead and do that in your calculator. So you want the 5th root of 32. That should give you a 2. And then we still need to square it. And 2 times 2 will give us a 4. Hope that helps.